I'm Brittany.
And I'm Brianna.
And welcome back to the Lewis Twins channel. And welcome back to yet another episode of Vlogtober. So by the title of the video, we're going to be telling you our fall book recommendations. These books that we're going to be talking about are perfect for spooky season and perfect for just cozy season as well, like once we get into November. So if you want to know all of the fall books we're going to be talking about, then keep on watching. Okay, so these are all of our book recommendations, and we have a few more that we don't have for the fall time. The first one is All Good People Here by our girl Ashley Flowers. If you didn't know, Ashley Flowers is the host of our favorite true crime podcast, Crime Junkie. She wrote a book and it came out last August and it's called All Good People Here, and this is the summary of the book that she gave. You can never ever know for sure what happens behind closed doors. Everyone from Wakarusa, Indiana remembers the infamous case of January Jacobs, who was discovered in a ditch hours after her family awoke to find her gone. Margot Davies was 6 at the time, the same age as January, and they were next door neighbors. In the 20 years since, Margot has grown up, moved away, and became a big city journalist, but she's always been haunted by the feeling that it could have been her, and the worst part is January's killer has never been brought to justice. When Margot returns home to help care for her uncle after he is diagnosed with early onset dementia, she feels like she's walked into a time capsule. Wakarusa is exactly how she remembered: genial, stifled, secretive. Then news breaks about 5-year-old Natalie Clark from the next town over, who's gone missing under circumstances eerily similar to January's. With all the old feelings rushing back, Margot vows to find Natalie and to solve January's murder once and for all. But the police, Natalie's families, the town people, they all seem to be hiding something. And the deeper Margot digs into Natalie's disappearance, the more resistance she encounters, and the colder January's case feels. Could January's killer still be out there? Is it the same person who took Natalie? And what will it cost to finally discover what truly happened that night 20 years ago? Twisted, chilling, and intense, All Good People Here is a searing tale that asks, what are your neighbors capable of when you think that no one is watching? Okay, so this book, by the summary literally, and the fact that it was Ashley Flowers, literally caught my eye, or like caught my attention. I read this last year, and this book is really good. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. It's a very good murder, mystery, thriller type of book, which is perfect for cozy season, like curl up in your blanket and read it. But I give it an 8 out of 10 because I feel like I expected a little bit more from Ashley Flowers. I feel like the ending was kind of flat. They like hyped it up the whole book, and then I feel like when we got to like finally like what actually happened, it was kind of like, man, like I kind of expected like more of it to be more climactic. So that's why I give it an 8 out of 10, but I definitely feel like you should give this a read if you like murder mysteries and if you're a fan of Crime Junkie, because I'm definitely reading this in Ashley Flowers' voice. The second book recommendation we have for you is The Murder of Mr Wickam. So this is a summary of the book. The happily married Mr. Knightley and Emma are throwing a house party, bringing together distant relatives and new acquaintances. Characters beloved by Jane Austen fans. Definitely not invited is Mr. Wickam, whose latest financial schemes has netted him an even broader array of enemies. As tempers flare and secrets are revealed, it's clear that everyone would be happier if Mr. Wickam got his comeuppance. Yet they are all shocked when Wickam turns up murdered, except of course the killer hidden in their midst. Nearly everyone at the house party is a suspect, so it falls to the two youngest guests to solve the mystery: Juliet Tinley, the smart and resourceful daughter of Catherine and Henry, who's eager for adventure beyond Northanger Abbey, and Jonathan Darcy, the Darcy's eldest son, whose adherence to propriety makes his father seem almost relaxed. In a tantalizing fusion of Jane Austen and Agatha Christie, the unlikely pair must put aside their own poor first impressions and uncover the guilty party before an innocent person is sentenced to hang. I thought this book was really good, and I had never read anything by Jane Austen. I know that I mentioned that it has characters from Jane Austen, but you don't have to know anything about them to read this book. Claudia Gray, the author of this book, just took those characters and then like made her own spin on it, like what they would be doing, what they would be like, kind of thing. You can just start with this. It was also set like in Jane Austen time, like back in the day, which I thought was pretty cool. I think that was just like a nice posed up read. They had candles they had to be lit because they didn't have electricity. They were all stuck in this house party because it had been pouring for days, which is like pouring rain, candles in the fall is just giving the most fall vibes. I would also give this book probably like a 9 out of 10. I really did enjoy it. It did make me feel smarter because they did have like a lot of older talk in the book because it was set like in like the 1800s or whatever, so it did make me feel smart. I think you definitely have to pay attention to this book because sometimes the vocabulary and stuff can be a little bit tricky and stuff. You just really have to pay attention to it when you're reading it, but when you do, it's a really great read. I felt like it had suspense and turns throughout the entire book. It wasn't just like everything at the beginning and then the rest of it was boring. I thought it was a pretty great read all throughout. And this book is also on our Amazon storefront, as well as All Good People here if you want to get either of them. So the next book I have for recommendations is a book that I just recently finished, and it's Once Upon a Dream by Liz Braswell. And this is one of the books that's in her Twisted Tales series. This one is about if Sleeping Beauty never woke up. They say, what if Sleeping Beauty never woke up? It should be simple: a dragon defeated, a slumbering princess in a castle, a prince poisoned to wake her. But when the prince falls asleep, as soon as his lips touch the fair maidens, it is clear that this fairy tale is far from over. With the desperate fairy's last curse controlling her mind, Princess Aurora must escape from a different castle of thorns and navigate a dangerously magical landscape created from her own dreams. Aurora isn't alone. A charming prince is eager to join her quest, and old friends offer their help, but as Maleficent's agents follow her every move, Aurora must discover who her true allies are and moreover who she truly is. Time is running out. Will the Sleeping Beauty be able to wake herself up? So this was a very cozy read. I felt like when I was reading it, the setting was like dark and gray. They were talking about sleeping and naps and stuff, so I feel like that's why I'm recommending this book for fall, because it was definitely giving cozy. I would recommend watching Sleeping Beauty first before you read this if you're not really familiar with the story. I've literally only seen that movie like one time, so like I was getting confused with like what is the actual Disney story and then like what part is Twisted Tales, if that makes sense, because like the part that was a Twisted Tales, that very much could have been the original story and I like literally would have no clue. So I definitely recommend watching the movie before you pick this up, and I'll probably give this a 7 out of 10 just because the way the author wrote Aurora in the book, she was just really irritating. I don't really know how to describe it, just everything was woe is me, I'm your worst one off, and it's just like, girl, get it together. Like it's just like everything's my fault. It was just like so irritating. But yeah, it's definitely cozy. This definitely made me want to check out her other books. She has other books in the series and they're not connected. They're like each about a different Disney character, so you can definitely read this solo or check out the other books in the series. But yeah, definitely check this one out if you want kind of more of a fantasy fall cozy read. The next fall cozy book is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I literally cannot recommend this book enough. I literally love Evelyn Hugo. I love how the author wrote. I love the different characters for the most part. One of them is annoying, but I'll let you figure out which one it is when you read it. Her writing style, I just really love it. She kind of does have like a lot of words on each page, but I feel like it was an easy read. Like it wasn't like difficult vocabulary or anything. This is what the back reads. Reclusive Hollywood icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses unknown magazine reporter Monique Grant to write her story, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. Determined to use this opportunity to jumpstart her career, Monique listens in fascination from making her way to Los Angeles in the 1950s to leaving show business in the 80s, and of course, the seven husbands along the way. Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love. But as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in a tragic and irreversible ways. Written with Reid's signature talent for creating complex, likable characters, this is a mesmerizing journey through the splendor of old Hollywood into the sobering realities of the present day as two women struggle with what it means and what it costs to face the truth. So definitely when they describe complex, likable characters, they were definitely spot on. How she wrote her characters, like you love to hate some of them. So I definitely really do like her writing style, and I would give this a 10 out of 10. I would literally give this a million out of 10. I would literally reread this again. It's giving me fall because it's like old Hollywood movies. Like I just feel like that's giving fall. I heard they're making a movie adaptation of this, so definitely get ahead so then when the movie comes out, we'll all be ready to watch it. But yeah, so definitely pick this up if you want to read kind of like an old Hollywood drama, love story type of book, then this one is for you. So the next book rec we have for you, we actually don't own the book. That's why I have my computer so I can make sure that I give you guys the back of the book. I read this book a few years ago, but it's still a very good book, and when we were putting this list together, I was like, what was that book? And I remembered, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this on the list. So the book that I have for you is a dystopian novel, which if you don't know what dystopian novels are, it's basically the opposite of like utopia, which is like a perfect society, and then like a dystopia is like the opposite of that. It's like a horrible society, and you'll see when I get into this book like, oh, that's the definition of dystopia, because I didn't define it well at all. But the book that I have for you is called Unwind by Neil Shusterman. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I think I may have. But this is a summary of the book. After the Civil War, the Bill of Rights states that human life may not be touched from the moment of conception until a child reaches the age of 13. However, a loophole allows parents to retroactively get rid of a teenager through a process called unwinding. 3 teens defy the system and run away to avoid being unwound. Connor, a rebel whose parents have ordered his unwinding, Risa, a ward of the state who is to be unwound due to cost cutting, and Lee, his parents' 10th child. Unwinding has been planned since birth as a religious tithing. As their paths intersect and lives hang in the balance, Connor, Risa, and Lee have to work together to survive. That is a lot. But it was actually a really good read, and the process of unwinding, I feel like he didn't really describe it on the back. So unwinding is basically that their bodies will be cut up and then their organs and everything in them will be used for other things. So this book was a very great read. I read this a few years ago and I remember I enjoyed it throughout the whole thing. So this is basically how the book is set up. There's 3 main characters and the chapters are like the main characters, like each perspective. Like chapter 1 may be called Connor and that's like his whole thing he's got going on, and number 2 would be Risa and it's her, and like it switches back and forth like that, but it's very clear on who is where at what point, like whose chapter it is. But I thought it was a pretty good read. I would definitely give this a 10 out of 10. I know I haven't read it in a while, but I just remember that it was so great, and just like that concept is just like a very weird concept of being able to unwind your children. I really do recommend the book, and I think it's perfect for spooky season. That is definitely a spooky concept. I would try to find this book if you can. The next one is another book that we do not currently own, but I think I read it about 2 years ago and it was super good. It's called Behind the Closed Door by Megan Collins. This is what the back reads. When Fern Douglas sees the news about Astrid Sullivan, a 34-year-old missing woman from Maine, she is positive that she knows her. Fern's husband is sure it's because of Astrid's famous kidnapping and equally famous return 20 years ago. Fern has no memory of that, even though it happened an hour outside her New Hampshire hometown, and when Astrid appears in Fern's reoccurring nightmare, one in which a girl reaches out to her pleading, Fern fears that it's not a dream at all but a memory. Back home in New Hampshire, Fern purchases a copy of Astrid's recently published memoir, which may have provoked her original kidnapper to abduct her again. And as she reads through its chapters and visits the people and places within it, she discovers more evidence that she has an unsettling connection to the missing woman. As Fern's search becomes increasingly desperate, she hopes to remember her past so she can save Astrid in the present before it's too late. This book had a very good twist at the end. The ending was something that I was not suspecting at all, so that's why I feel like it's perfect for spooky season. Any like chilling, the ending was a little chilling, twisted type of psychological thriller will be perfect for this time of year. Just curl up in your blanket, get your hot tea or hot cocoa, hot coffee, whatever you want to drink. I definitely give this book probably a 9 out of 10. The beginning was a little bit slower, but it definitely like picked up like mid book. I couldn't put the book down. It was really good. The next book recommendation I have for you is Shamed by Linda Castillo. Let me just read the back of it for you. The peaceful town of Painter's Mill is shattered when an Amish grandmother is brutally murdered on an abandoned farm. When Chief of Police Kate Burkholder arrives on the scene, she learns that the woman's 7-year-old granddaughter is gone, abducted in plain sight. Kate knows time is against her. The longer the girl is missing, the less likely her safe return becomes. The girl's family is a pillar of the Amish community, well respected by all. Kate soon realizes they're keeping secrets, and the sins of their past may be coming back to haunt them. What are they hiding and why? I really did enjoy this book. The thing about this author, Linda Castillo, she has a bunch of different murder and missing books, but they're all about the Amish community. I would give it a 9 out of 10. I really did like the ending. I do watch a lot of true crime. I listen to true crime podcasts. So I feel like this was just another extension of true crime with this case. Like I feel like this case probably could happen in real life. So if you're really into true crime, I would recommend this for you. The next book recommendation and the last book recommendation we have is an American classic, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I know basically all of us read this in high school. school, and it was just super good. When I went in the bookstore, I saw it and I was like, I think this would be such a cozy read, giving all of the fall feelings. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read what they have on the back of the thing on Barnes & Nobles. I don't know if this is like the official back of the book. A gripping, heart-wrenching, and wholly remarkable tale of coming of age in a South poisoned by virulent prejudice. It views a world of great beauty and savage inequities through the eyes of a young girl as her father, a crusading local lawyer, risked everything to defend a black man unjustly accused of a terrible crime. It definitely has different themes of dealing with just basically how the time was and like acceptance of others. This is definitely an American classic. It is super good and it just gives me all the feels of like being in high school again. It just really is a nostalgic feeling when I think about this book, so I definitely recommend it. It's 10 out of 10 and I definitely would pick it up because I haven't read it in a while, just to kind of get like my perception on it now that I am older. And I definitely recommend reading it if you want to get more into like some American classics. This is a pretty easy read. So that is going to end our video for today. So comment down below which fall book recommendations from our list you would like to read this fall season. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss a single video. And we'll see you tomorrow with a brand new episode of Vlogtober. Bye!